Things have been rough lately, feeling the effects of the political climate here in the US and seeing the raw consequences of it in your community. And so I wanted to come on here to do a short 3-card pull about this what's going on. And in this card pull, I would like to call upon the spirit of resistance and the spirit of victory, Victoria, to see our place in that movement, where our archetypes are fitting for whomever comes across this video. I've got 3 decks here. I've got my classic Rider-Waite-Smith. I've got a playing card deck. And I've got this weird, it's like Aesop's Fables cards with the classic playing card in the corner, but it has these fables in Old English. And sometimes I can't even read what it says, but it has all these images, all these different illustrations, and it's fun to sort of read the symbolism in that. And so as I'm shuffling, I'm thinking about how we create the forward motion, or thinking about some of the astrology that's going to be taking place in the next few months, especially Saturn moving back into Aries, or going direct into Aries in February. Maybe it's not so much about creating forward motion, but making sure you ride the wave when it's coming towards you. If you've ever surfed or boogie boarded, it's almost like the waves are always going to come. It's you who must be ready to ride them. So, I will pull first from my playing card deck. Then I'll do my classic, and then I'll do the Aesop's Fables. So, how do we move with the oncoming wave towards the spirit of resistance and towards the spirit of victory? All right, I've got the 10 of clubs. Let's see, with my classic, this one wanted to come out. Got the High Priestess. And we'll pull this one, and I will kind of go into that one last. This one says the dog with the clog. And here's the image. And it's also a 4 of spades. So, the first thing I think of when I see a 10 of clubs is magic in tandem with others. Clubs always, I can't help but associate clubs with 3 and 4 leaf clovers, with luck more so than fire or wands. And that's sort of like a slower growth, or a more tender, it's like a tender magic. Maybe it's more like weed magic, weed pulling, or working with weeds that we think are a nuisance but are actually medicine. And, a lot of weeds do the same thing. A lot of greens do the same thing for your body. But it's when you come together to observe the effects of a different weed with others, and you come to an agreement about what they can do, that you create the magic. It's not something you fully create or control, but it's something you agree upon with others. In tandem with the High Priestess, I feel secure in knowing that the matriarchs are rising, the priestesses are returning, the druids are returning as a archetypal leader. The time for singular leaders, the time for charismatic leaders is over. The High Priestess represents a group, an archetype that leads, not a person that leads. We must step into this role. Think about stepping into this role, fully embodying this role, and being this role, especially as February comes around and Saturn goes direct into Aries. When you put the dress on, you will be taken with the wave. All right, The Dog with the Clog. I'm going to do my best to read this old English fable and try to divine the meaning. A dog wolf fiercens was by fetters check, fancied himself with foam new honor decked. Thy folly's great, the wifer curs reply. The wiser curs reply. For glory to mistake thine infamy. The moral, thus daring, debauchees do often boast of those loose vices which dishonor most. What I'm getting from that is it's making me think about the anti-intellectualism movement that we are facing in this country. It's very easy to put on the aura of confidence. It's harder to stand firm in something that you know to be true when it's just you that's knowing it to be true. And sometimes it's harder to stand firm when you are forced not to prove that you know something that is true. That's the difficult path that we're on. Staying the course, allowing people to be anti-intellectual, and being confident in yourself. I teach, and I see this in a lot of my kids, especially the boys. The boys are at this age where they want to feel like a man, and they want to feel like they can prove that they're a man and that they know what they're about and they understand the ways of the world. And they do this by putting on the aura of, I don't need to know that I already know. I already know everything. I don't need to know more. I'm good. I'm able to, make my money and prove my worth, essentially. And it's easy to get triggered by that type of energy. But you really must sort of just allow people to go on their boasting. That's the medicine. That's the inner medicine. That's all I've got. I would like to do more card pulls. I like a simple 3 card. I like a weird card. I hope this helped. I hoped it helped me. Thanks.